And in some case, in Munchausen, where they'll like abuse you and then take care of you, and then abuse you and then take care of you. It's like the punishment reward system. You know what I mean? Like if you're good and you do what you're supposed to do, you go out, you work in the fields, you rip up the banana leaves, whatever. I'm talking about Guyana now. I'm not because I get all like because I have all this like useless knowledge about like serial killers and cults and all these facts that I never get to talk about because who the fuck wants to talk about it? You know, it's kind of a gross thing. It is a gross thing. But also, I didn't realize until I was talking to somebody who really did help me here. It was really like a good therapist friend, and of course, you know, we have to get rid of the ones that are nice to me. But uh, she mentioned that I did that because I had witnessed them, and my friend had been murdered, and it was a way for me to cope with it and stay safe and not be put back into the harmful, you know, traumatic event. But I could, you know, it was a way for my autistic neurodivergent brain to process and heal part of me that got hurt when I witnessed that. But I did go a little too deep. But there was one case. I'm off the track. I'm off the topic of cults now. But there was one case that scared me, and I stopped. And I've never had one scare me. And I have studied the most depraved, horrific murderers on the planet. Uh, and I even have favorites. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. And it's not because of their murders or whatever. It's because of it was because of their intellect. It wasn't because of what they were doing. You know, it was because they were smart. The only reason they got caught is because they always get cocky. They always have to like brag about what they're doing. They always have to make the victims, you know, taunt, and that's what gets them. Like BTK, I think he is the biggest p word. Uh, he was an idiot because he just could not stop like bragging about what he did. He was an idiot. But then you've got the others like the Zodiac, and we still I don't do we. I think I heard somewhere that they had DNA, but because I don't pay attention to it anymore because now that I'm on the spiritual journey, it bothers my spirit, and I have to put that down and not carry that stuff anymore. But I still like know all this stuff and talk about it, and sometimes it relates to things that are going on with me. So that's why I'm talking about it now. But there's with all of them, with all these people, and I don't want to like, I don't know, because not all cult leaders murder. Yeah, a lot of them do. You know what I mean? A lot of them do, and there tends to be that element of mass uh, unaliving, where the leader will, and it's really because the leader's about to get caught. The leader did something, you know, people are figuring the leader out. They're starting to realize that things aren't adding up, and so the leader gets all worked up, and it's their shit, it's their ego, it's their project, it's theirs, and because they need that control and they need that validation from their followers or whatever, that and they have the followers so brainwashed and so usually like they'll you know how they like they'll work them or sleep deprivation, all of those things that like also go hand in hand with like abusive relationships, like domestic violence type of deals. They use the same sort of tactics, right, on their followers. And they'll do sleep deprivation and starvation and make them all uh, like stop being individual, or they all dress alike. So there's no individuality because the only one that can be the individual is the leader, right? So like, um, when usually, and the perfect example of this is Jonestown with Jim Jones, and people were starting to figure him out. They figured out that he was a drug addict, that he was screwing all these people over. People were asking for help. They were reaching out to congressmen back in America and asking for help to get out of the jungles of Guyana because this fucking guy was crazy. And when I can't remember their names. I knew all their names. I've watched every documentary over and over and over again. But Leo Ryan was the congressman or senator that went over and tried to help people. And there were people slipping him notes, and Jim Jones was still standing in front of all of them and putting on his big spiel, but you could see him sweating and freaking out. And, like, some of the people were still playing along, but there were a bunch of them that were, like, slipping the congressman notes and, like, begging for help to get out. And Jim couldn't do it. He couldn't allow. Well, he was going to go down with his ego still intact, because I guess they figure that uh, I don't know, the mask or whatever, it'll all die with them, but when they die, the secrets all come out. I mean, nothing, especially terrible lies like that. They don't stay buried forever. Like if you're harming other people for your own benefit, it doesn't stay buried forever. And you can drink the Kool-Aid and you can get 1,000 innocent men, women, and children to drink it too, just so they'll go down with you. Piece of shit. He's an absolute, like, no respect, animal. Only an animal. That's not a human being that could do that type of thing to other humans for their own benefit, for their own ego, so that people don't know what a phony they are. So you're gonna take 1,000 innocent men, women, and children, and like the stories of the people that survived, who lost wives and children, and the screams. Like there's tapes of the screams as they're watching, drinking it and watching it, and like forcing babies, and you can hear his crazy ass on a microphone, like talking them into doing it. And there's there's something about that mentality of the followers that they are so desperate to be loved or to be seen. There's some trauma, there's something that's broken in them that is looking for healing, and they go to these people and beg for help. And at first there's the love bombing, and there's so you think that, yeah, this is my tribe, I found my family. And then it in turn turns into more psychological abuse with the gaslighting and the physical abuse with the, whatever, ripping somebody up out of their community and taking them to another place where they're isolated, like the jungles of Guyana, and they can't leave. And then these people are these like, I guess, like Jim Jones or whatever, and then the people that worked underneath him would, like, take all of their belongings, all of their paperwork, all of it, and they might use it to, like, I don't know what they do. Sometimes they file for benefits themselves and gain those benefits with the people's, like, documentation or whatever, and, like, then they have the people working in the jungles, planting gardens, and being sleep deprived, and keeping them constantly going, constantly isolated, constantly uh, distracted with little, like, he would. I heard that he would get on the because he loved that microphone. He loved talking on the microphone, and he put it on the loudspeakers all over the jungle, so people would be, like, working and they'd be hearing his voice, and he'd ramble because he was, like, on coke and shit, and like it would drive them insane. And or they had big spotlights all over where, like, so even when they were resting, they couldn't get rest because it would mess up their circadian rhythm. You know what I mean? And like uh, it was it, psychological torture to keep them doing whatever it was that you know the leader Jim Jones in this case, or like the other cases. Uh, I don't know, like Heaven's Gate, or some of the other ones that they would uh, they would do that to them, and then they would in turn profit off of it while they're you know I guess getting free work out of people, getting that benefit of being loved and adored, and like the Munchausen thing. I think there's an aspect of that in cult leaders where it's like they're doing the harm and then they swoop in and like oh, I've got you, it's okay, we've got you, we're sorry, here, have a pound cake. And then you know what I mean, and it's that cycle of abuse, just like in domestic violence, just like in um, these cult um, dynamics. It's a strange thing. I don't know what got me on that all of a sudden. Uh, but yeah, if you ever wanna chit chat serial killer stats, I'm your girl. I am your girl. It is surreal, but the one that did scare me, and I'll talk about this one, and I cannot remember the guy's name because once I saw his eyes, I was like, that's it, I'm done, and I stopped watching ID Network. I stopped all of it. I had books. Oh, I had stacks of books and magazines. I watched every episode of Criminal Minds over and over and over. I was obsessed. I wanted to be a FBI profiler until I saw this guy's eyes. I'm serious. Um, it it was the it happened in like Galveston, Houston area in the early 80s, late 70s, and there was a string of young girls, I don't know, ages like 20 to 12, like young teenage, mostly females, and they were disappearing through this area. I can't remember. There were like 20 or 30, it was a lot of girls. And they had it narrowed down to like three different suspects. And there was one guy, and he had been arrested previously for something, I think like flashing or whatever. And they just, it was just a picture of him that I saw. And this guy ended up going ape shit, and like I think right as they were about to like get him, and he walked up to somebody's driveway and killed a guy in his driveway, and I think his mom or somebody was standing. It was wild, and it was because he'd flashed somebody, and they told him to stop it. That's the same thing that happened to my friend. Um, he'd been walking. I don't know if I want to get into this or not, but he'd been walking, and this guy was walking around nude with a Tech 9, and my friend had kids, and he went by and said, "Hey, man, do you mind putting some clothes on?" Well, he probably wasn't that sweet, but he was like, "Hey, don't do that." And the guy didn't take it too well, I guess. And anyway, it was something similar to that. And I think the guy ended up getting shot by the police. I can't recall because I don't even want to look at it. I don't even. This guy's eyes. I've seen evil. I've seen evil. Like when they sat the murderer that killed my friend down like right next to me in a chair, and I looked at him, and his eyes were evil. And I had a friend who she would flip switch, and she was evil. But this, I have never seen the likes of anything. Just thinking about it, like rattled me like a cold rattled through my body, and I put that shit down. After I saw this guy's eyes, and I don't remember his name, but if you want to look it up and you go for it, and maybe you won't see the same thing. Most people don't see the same thing I see ever, but this guy's eyes were something. Like I don't know about all that demon shit, but that was true. There was like a lack of just warmth. It was just it was not of this world. I've never seen anything like it again. Not that I don't. That was fucked up. And after I saw that guy, and it was like literally my kid had gone to spend the night with a friend, and what I normally did on the weekends is just study serial killers, watch all this shit. I went to sleep with it on, and you know, Law and Order, all of them, anything with crime, and I saw that guy's eyes, and it was like I don't know if maybe it was like a soul memory, like he past life shit. I don't know what it was, but it stopped me in my tracks, and I never looked another fucking thing up again. Don't care to watch it. I don't want to hear about it. Like if it's something that's like current news or whatever, I'll hear about it, whatever. But I don't go into like the full obsessive details like I did after that one. There was something, but something good did come out of that case. I don't know if you know the guy that does the Equa search. His daughter was one of the victims, and after that, he started an organization where they get volunteers together and go in and look for missing people. And just something good did come out of that case, but at the same time, it's, it's just horrifying and sad that it even happens. And it has decreased quite a bit since the internet DNA, but it still happens. And the psychology behind all of it is pretty wild. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know I don't know what that was, but yeah. You wanna you wanna talk stats? Let me know. All right. Bye.